Radio Rahim with Johnny Nelson, getting ready for another big card, man. And there's quite a few big cards on the horizon in 2019. But the first that we have to talk about is what we're here for. Finally, Ruiz and Joshua picked a date, picked a location. They're on the promotional tour. We're here in London. First, what did you make of what we've seen of Joshua now that he's back in front of the cameras, facing off with Ruiz?
Okay, so when Joshua lost to Ruiz, I said we are now going to see an uncut version of Anthony Joshua slowly appear in front of our very eyes. And the reason being is because Joshua's now seen the good and bad side of people. He's had a lot of lovers that have turned into haters. He's had a lot of criticism. He's had a lot of praise. And it hurts no matter what. And plus his pride's hurt because he's lost to Andy Ruiz, who actually, what he did was, Anthony Joshua, he actually dropped the ball. He did what certain fighters have done, which is once you get into a position of being a champion, you've got to fight every fight as though you are still the hunter. And he looked at Andy Ruiz and thought, nah, I don't have to worry about this. And that was the wrong attitude to have. It's a heavy lesson to learn. It's happened in the past with other fighters. Now he's learned his lesson. So now he has to get in the queue, fight and train and prep like a hungry fighter and think, right, this will never happen to me again. You have to learn and get wisdom through experiences. And this is one of his experiences to all of a sudden change his attitude and his mindset when he gets in the ring.
That's a common analysis of what happened. Oh, Joshua wasn't ready. Joshua took him lightly.
No, not what he wasn't ready. He took him lightly because he trained, but he took him, got a spider there. He took him lightly. That's what he did. So it's not one that he wasn't physically ready. He said, when you look at somebody, if you're in the gym and you're sparring with somebody, you're dealing with them easy, thinking, and all of a sudden, years later, he's still looking at this guy and say he's nothing, and all of a sudden he turns it up. It's hard for you to change your mindset and think, oh my goodness, and give him the respect where it was due, and that's what happened to Joshua. He found it hard giving respect to a fighter midway through that he thought, nah, deal with this guy easy. Now he's got his respect. Now he's got his attention. Now he's got his tutelage where he's thinking, I'm going to look at everything about you to beat you, and I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
But does that thinking, if not for us as analysts, for Joshua himself, leave room for underestimating Ruiz again in this way?
No,
that
not at all.
If it was Ruiz that was just better on the night and might be a better fighter than we're rating him, if he's thinking, oh, it was me, I wasn't taking him seriously, if I take him seriously, it'll be an easier fight, he might be in for another very long night.
No, not at all, because I think he was hurt, embarrassed. His pride's been hurt. His titles were taken away from him. And so now he's thinking, I can't make that happen again. And he'll look at why these things happened. And he will respect Ruiz that's in front of him. And he'll probably want to hate Ruiz that's in front of him. Because he's thinking, you know what, I made a silly mistake. I made a massive mistake which has made such a massive difference to my legacy, to what I want to achieve. I think Anthony Joshua, when he gets in the ring December 7th, I think we see the best of him. If the best is good enough, that is the question. But we see the best of him. But we also see the best of Andy Ruiz. And the problem with Andy Ruiz now, everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows and watches this guy, watches his past fights, watches what he's good at, watches what he's bad at, watches what his weaknesses are, his strengths are. And so now he's in the position Anthony Joshua was from when he won the world title. Because once you become world champion, every heavyweight that has a dream of being a champion out there looks at you and thinks, I'd beat him this way, I'd beat him. So they've got months, they've got years to prep for you. Now every heavyweight out there is looking at Andy Ruiz saying, yep, that's how I'd beat him, that's how. Whereas before, he's had the art of surprise. He's turned up, big smile on his face, doesn't look in shape, then bam, 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 deals with you. And he's got away with it like an assassin. Now those days are done. So even if Anthony Joshua doesn't get the win out of him, someone will, because now they are watching him. They are schooling. Josie Parker did his homework. Josie Parker thought, this is how I beat this guy. I've got to box him, use my footwork, use our hand speed, use angles, and parry him off. And even though it was tight, he got the win. So he understood, he did his homework, That's what Anthony Joshua now, hopefully, has been doing.
How does Andy Ruiz retain his titles? Is there a path to victory for him?
Yeah, of course there is, because we've seen it happen before. And for Anthony Joshua needs to, and I know people won't like the sound of this, to box him boring. He's got to box him, use the jab, use the reach, use his height.
Ruiz needs to do that to Joshua?
No, Joshua needs to do that to Ruiz. For Ruiz needs to put him under pressure, time that shot, but it's got to be physically fast enough and sharp enough to boom, jump on him again, because now he knows a fighter that's out there. He's ready for him. So Ruiz is going to be prepared to try and get inside, get to his chest, because he's the shorter man. He has got long arms, he's the shorter man, but he needs to try and walk Joshua down. And Joshua's going to parry, take the shot. If he's got him hurt, use boxing ability. And remember, Anthony Joshua's been boxing 10 years. So some of the old school tricks and understandings of the sweet science, he hasn't got. So he's just had to have a crash course now to say, right, this is how we're going to beat this guy. And so it's a case of, can Anthony Joshua turn into a smooth boxing machine in such a short space of time? Is it in his remit? Because we know that's what he's been working on. You look at the build of him, he looks slimmer, he looks leaner. He's allegedly brought someone else onto his team to add something else to his team. I believe that'd be more technique, more boxing technique. That's what wins the fight. That's the blueprint to beating Ruiz, because we've seen it from Parker.
As you've told me, and anybody who's fought has always said to me, boxing is mostly mental. Some people say 80-20 mental.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about the physical matchup, maybe the technical skill exchange, what about mentally? Ruiz going in knowing he bested him once, knocked him down 4 times, and Joshua feeling that first shot. Ruiz is likely to land something heavy.
Yeah, and so it's giving Ruiz the confidence to say, you know what, I've done it once, I can do it again. I know I can take you on. I know I can hurt you. And he's going to go in there confident, even though he's going to be fearful what's in front of me, thinking, I catch you, you're gone. He knows he can do it. For Anthony Joshua, that fear of understanding, this guy can really hurt me. This guy's not bad. He's faster than what I thought. I felt his power. I know what he can do. For him to even say, I want it as my immediate rematch, good on him. And people, people say, well, people that have immediate rematches, they usually go the same way. So let's look back in history. Randolph Turpin against Sugar Ray Robinson. Was he the 68-day hero?
Yeah.
And what did he say about Sugar Ray Robinson when Randolph Turpin beat him? They said he was garbage, this, that, and the other. Robinson underestimated him, came back and got the job done. Sugar Ray landed against Roberto Duran. The first fight, Roberto Duran got the better of him. He went away. Sugar Ray thought, you know what? I got that wrong, came back, look what he did. Broke the heart of a lion like
that's strong company you're putting Joshua in right now.
What I'm saying, I'm talking
the two
mindset.
Sugar Rays.
I'm not talking minds. I'm talking mindset. I'm not talking ability, because God forbid, I'm saying Anthony Joshua boxers like the two Sugar Rays. What I'm saying is it's mindset. It's mindset. So when people say it cannot be done, you just think about what they said when these things happened and these rematches. And we can go on to rematches over and again. I'm quite sure you could pick some out. I could pick some out of the boxing history. What I'm saying is it can be done. It's about how much strong you are mentally. And Anthony Joshua's proved mentally he's strong enough by the fighters he's fought coming up to this point. The pressure he's been under when he's been at Wembley Stadium and boxed in front of 90,000 people to box Vladimir Klitschko. He showed steady determination and strength to say the little professional experience he's had. So I think mentally, I don't even question that. As long as his mind's in the right place, I don't question that. Now all the questions are for Ruiz. Can Ruiz carry on and be consistent with what he's doing? Because life's changed. He's got a big old white Rolls Royce, big old mansion for him and his mother. Everybody, his life's changed. And it's very hard. For all of it, when you're born into wealth, okay, you get used to that. But when all of a sudden it's dropped on you, you're thinking, boy, I can have whatever I want. So is Ruiz capable of ignoring all that? A little helicopter taking him to the shopping mall, a little white Rolls Royce outside. Can he ignore all that and think, right, I'm going to fight like a hungry animal. I'm going to do exactly the same again. And this is going to be hard bit, because no matter what you say, if I showered you with millions right now, your attitude is going to change a little bit. A little bit.
I would like to test that theory. Before this defeat on Joshua's part, a lot of debate was being had as to who was the biggest draw in boxing, who's the face of it. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez was the other side of that debate. And he appears to be about to take a big bite out of the light heavyweight division. 175 pounds. Now, he's a big 60-pounder, but a 175-pound title fight. Is that more than Canelo is ready for?
Well, Canelo knows what he's capable of doing. I'm quite sure when he's in training, he's around that anyway. And I'm quite sure when he's in the gym prepping, he uses a lot of light heavyweights and cruisers to spar with. And trust me, that does happen. So he knows what he's capable of doing. When you're at world elite level, and you're coming against, say, for instance, he couldn't have done that against an Andre Ward. You understand? Right. So, so he knows what competition's out there. Say, you know what, I can actually do this here and there. I can do it with you. I can do it with you. So I understand where he's at. I understand that he wants that challenge, and I get that, and I like that. And again, a multi-billionaire shows such hunger to take such a massive risk. That is what I'm talking about when you're in such a position as a fight. So it's now all about just the wins. It's not about the dough, it's about the wins and the legacy.
Kovalev just stopped a legitimate 75-pounder, a bit young in his career, but yet in the 11th round late, he didn't gas like we used to seeing him. I mean, are you feeling like Canelo can beat Kovalev?
Yeah. I don't think Kovalev is the fight he was. Let's admit that. I think he did a great job against Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde, he lost because of lack of experience, and Kovalev's experience, to ride the storm when he was in a situation, even though he was beating him on point. Kovalev didn't look as menacing as what he used to look. So he's there for the taking. We've seen that when he boxed Ward. He's there for the taking. I think his career kind of has changed a little bit. So even though he went up there and he went there, I don't think he's going to get any higher or any better. I think it's more going to be more or less on the slide. So it's about timing of when these fights happen.
When we talk about the heavyweight division, for the moment, Dylan White is absent from the conversation because we don't know what the results of this whole thing is going to be. And Eddie Hearn has managed to put some doubt in people's mind in things that are usually considered a foregone conclusion. You pop dirty, people just assume you're dirty, and that's the end of the story. Yeah. Eddie's done a good job in sowing some doubt.
A great job.
How do you take that situation, and where do you think Dylan White is?
I'm hearing many things, many different stories, and Dylan White. I hope to God that Dylan is not guilty of doing this. I don't mean found not guilty. I hope he's not guilty of doing what he's accused of doing. I gather a colleague of mine was speaking to the president of the WBC. They said, well, he's not banned as far as we're concerned. So you're hearing different conflicting stories left, right and centre. So something needs to clear up. We don't know. Nobody knows the facts of everything and everything. So it's hard for us to make a valid opinion on the whole situation. Dylan White is still training as though, you know what, I'll be fine soon. I'm going to sue somebody. I know that because Dylan's told me. It will come out in the wash. And again, unless you know all sides of every story, I suppose it's like Anthony Joshua saying Lennox Lewis is a clown, and everybody giving Anthony Joshua a hard time. And my argument is, well, on a minute. I said, has anybody asked the question why he said that? There's a bit of beef. Something's happened between these two. Something's been said between these two. And I'm quite sure if you get all sides of the story, you say, I get it. All right. So let's get all sides of this story with Dylan White before we then say, we all hope, because Dylan White has got the support of the people behind him to say, you know what, this guy has done it the hard way and he's at the back of the queue and people are ignoring it. And now this has happened. So I'm quite sure a lot of people hope they are wrong. They hope Dylan White has not done anything underhand. If he has to suffer the consequences. End of. Point blank. But we hope, that the underdog comes through.
Was that comment on Joshua's part a bit of a tell as to like where his mindset is? Is he a bit more agitated? That doesn't sound like something he would normally say.
Okay, are we talking about Joshua now?
Yeah.
So with Joshua, he's been very PC up to this point.
Right.
Up to being world champion. And it's made him the richest heavyweight out there. He's made him most successful. The success he's achieved in 10 years is mad. So he's played the corporate card, he's been very PC. So now all of a sudden, when he's held his tongue and things have gone bad for him, people are starting to dig it in. So he's thinking, all right, if we can all play that game, I've held my tongue, so I'll have some of this. So basically, the argument with him and Lennox Lewis, I don't know what the argument is. But what I do know is, there's two sides to every story. I'm a good friend of Lennox. I'm a good friend of AJ's. But there's two sides of every story. So an AJ's got stick for saying such a thing, but I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. Well, has anybody wondered why he said it? Think about it. Think about.
Why do you think he
have
said
you heard
it?
anything from AJ on Lennox Lewis over the past 2 or 3 years since being champion? No. But you heard stuff from Lennox,
Right.
on AJ. So maybe that's rattled him. Maybe something else behind the scenes has rattled him. So all of a sudden, when AJ's put in a position where he's a bit excuse my French, pissed off, and he's asked about Lennox, he'll say, no, Lennox is the clown. for his own reason. We don't know the story. So let's get every side of the story. I would have actually pushed him on the question and said, yo, what's that about? Where's that come from? I'd have actually pushed on him. I wouldn't have left it there because it left him in a bad light. I'd say, talk to me. Give me some meat. Put some meat on the bones. What's all that about? So he either says what he's got to say or he just looks bad.
One guy who always puts some meat on the bone in these interviews, and I'm happy to say I'm a good friend of yours as well. Radio Rahim with Johnny Nelson. Let's get to this press conference, man. Can't wait to talk to you again, brother.
Every time.
Radio Rahim, Johnny Nelson.